And from an Alchemist point of view, we're able to help on many things, establishing business as far as contacts and so on, help in hiring the right talent, the right people for your sales and marketing team, and specifically within the areas of manufacturing automation. Health tech are the two of the areas we have a deep conviction in right now. And we'd like to see conviction for the right to play and for founder market fit.
Alchemist is a US VC firm Accelerator program, correct?
That's right. So we're an Accelerator program. We've been around since 2012. Over 50% of companies that have gone through our Accelerator have successfully fundraised post-Accelerator, and they've raised, at this point, close to 600 combined, I think 600 billion. So we've had a pretty huge impact that we've been able to have on the market. And we're right now moving on to Fund 4. So we've worked with quite a few startups. We've worked with over 680 startups at this point. And we do batches of 20 startups 3 times a year.
3 times?
That's right. So as far as within the equity program. And we want to continue working with pre-seed founders, early stage founders, and we intend to start working with founders that are international founders at a pre-A level, where they are raising money to validate a US market opportunity. So we specifically want to find founders where they've created a very opinionated product at home that they can show some amount of traction at home, or at least an understanding of why their customers love them. And then we can start looking at what's the realistic size of a market entry attempt. And from an Alchemist point of view, we're able to help on many things, establishing business entities, help on giving as far as contacts and so on, help in hiring the right talent, the right people for your sales and marketing team, help in estimating how big should it be, 1 million to try to do this? Should you dedicate 2 million? Should it be 10 million? It's going to depend from case to case, depending on what people want to do. And specifically within the areas of manufacturing automation, health tech are the two of the areas we have a deep conviction in right now. And we'd like to see conviction for the right to play and for founder market fit. So we're looking for where Japanese cultural values and great founders in Japan gives them an outsized advantage here in the United States.
I see. So I have a question, Laurent. So Japanese company who does like manufacturing means like robotics.
That's right. It means selling into the manufacturing industry, not manufacturers themselves, but for example, the intersection of robotics and AI, novel ways of doing things that we deeply need here in the United States. We have a need for a tremendous amount more motors, electric motors, to be built here. Not just a little bit, a lot. Millions and millions of them need to be built in the next 3 to 4 years, right? So we'd love to speak with companies that are changing the way we build electric motors.
So how about healthcare? Healthcare company is, for example, like Oura Ring. Here is California. Many founders are wearing Oura Ring. It's kind of one of a healthcare company.
Absolutely.
Who has software and also hardware, correct?
So Aura is a great example. The hardware is honestly, when it first came out, was very impressive. Now it's commodity. So where does the value lie? It lies actually in the software. And Aura is a great example. It's a Finnish company.
Finland, really? Okay.
So, and it's managed to have a pretty good presence here in the United States. Right now, it's grown tremendously. It's at unicorn status already. And so this is an area where we see a really good opportunity. It's in the B2C area, which we're specifically not as interested in. However, it's a great example of a company, an international company that's able to enter the US market very strongly in the health tech area. Very, very good company, good example.
I see. Okay, so healthcare company need software and maybe hardware both because of putting something, the monitor to brain or
It oftentimes depends, but we see the intersection between hardware and software to be very interesting. Oftentimes, the hardware is helping create our data, and data becomes a strong moat. So when we're looking at companies like Aura, that are creating vast amounts of data, all of a sudden their models have a lot more data to train on. Their models are able to be much better than competition, or what access to data that you may have that others may not have. And then how can you keep that access as being proprietary? And how can you start generating a lot more? Whether or not we're looking at, we see there has been a tremendous revolution coming where healthcare, my hope is, will be vastly more accessible to more people around the world, where we're able to start improving quality of life dramatically for people and providing healthcare that they would have otherwise never gotten at a level that they would have otherwise never gotten in a much, much larger scale than we're able to today. I think it's going to be a transformative area. And when I look at the areas that AI can have the biggest impact as far on the day-to-day of people's lives, this is one where I see is tremendous. So we want to be part of that story. I think Japan wants to be part of that story. In particular, we see some very strong companies coming out of both Singapore and Korea as well, especially Korea. At Singapore more from from an investment point of view, not from a company generation point of view. This has been really, really exciting. And the cultural values that might be challenging on a B2C or a B2B SaaS play actually are completely an advantage when we're looking at something like healthcare, when we're looking at factory automation, things that involve a very high capital expenditure or a high risk involved, where we want to make sure I want the best, right? And I think this is an area where quest for continuous improvement, for quality, really comes out as a huge value. So we're really excited to be meeting Japanese entrepreneurs. Like Shosabi is a great example of someone who was in the Alchemist class doing physical therapy device and software and starting to get some real traction. So we're excited to see companies like that, and we hope to see many more in that area. And we're doubling down at Alchemist on bringing on new venture partners with deep expertise in that area from the medical field that we're going to be very excited to know.
Thank you so much. So, if you can tell to the potential founders, what is the Alchemist strength?
Right. Alchemist is founder first. Right. We're very strong at looking at founders, matching them with the right mentors, introducing them to the right people that can give them a entry into the market, and keeping incentives aligned. So one of the big areas, we want our incentives to always be aligned with your incentives. And we can help negotiate that through the entire founder journey as we come in early. We believe very strongly in triple wins. We want to see something that's a clear win for the founder, it's a clear win for the investors, and it's actually a clear win for the market, for the customers. So we are very careful about vetting what we do in that sense. The other area that I think Alchemist is really strong in is helping you through the process of customer discovery, right? Helping you deeply understand I like to say you need to be like a hunter. You need to know where your customer drinks water, where they go to sleep at night, what do they dream of, what are they afraid of, what keeps them up if they're not sleeping, what does a giant win mean for your customer, and a deep understanding not just of the customer as being a company, but a person, and all the people involved in making that decision. In an enterprise sale, this is very complicated. It's not just the CEO. Oftentimes the CEO doesn't want to make that decision. It's somebody else. Well, who does that person need to convince? They need to convince other people, maybe somebody in finance, maybe somebody in HR, all of these things. So it's getting that deep understanding of the customer. That's the first area that we strongly believe in. And the other area is communicating that, right? Communicating that to the market. It's always very challenging. And we see this as being an area that founders fail at often. Not being able to communicate who their customer is and why their customer wants this very badly. Why is it in the top 3 problems they have right now? It's not, oh, this might be nice.
Like
Assumptions.
Guessing, I see.
Take out of guessing, take things out of reports that you might read a report and, oh, it should be this way. Everything is showing me, but we want direct conversations and as many as they can get. That's the area, and the network of existing founders that have exited within the Alchemist network also helps. We've had over 70 exits at this point. This Alchemist, 1 IPO, a couple IPOs in the works right now. And so Rigetti was our big IPO a couple of years ago, which is now doing very well with the renewed interest in quantum. And so we're really looking for founders that are able to be part of that community, come back, participate within the angel community that we have at helping those founders, the new founders, create the companies of the future.
This
right?
is cool.
That's a big part of what we're doing. And we definitely have competition, and there's some great accelerators out there, without a doubt. But we think our differentiation is ultimately in really putting that founder first. One, giving a lot of hand-holding when needed for a distinct period of time. Right? We can't do that forever. At a certain point in time, either you need to move forward or you need to find something else. That's another area where I would like to see a little bit more discipline in the Japanese market, sometimes of letting, it's good when companies fail. It's actually a healthy thing for the ecosystem. It's difficult. I say it's like a forest fire.
Forest fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here in California, we have fires.
Yes, like a mountain fire.
Mountain fire
Yeah.
in the forest. And that's always very sad. Trees burn. The air fills with smoke. Many animals lose their homes. People even lose their homes, even their lives. But if we don't have forest fires, a healthy forest cannot grow. Okay, so we need to have that death within the system as well as life. And so when a company, a startup closes, this is hard. However, it taught very, very good lessons to the people working there. Difficult lessons, expensive lessons, but hopefully it taught them very good lessons that now they understand. It taught good lessons to the investors, okay, about how they help, about what advice they gave, about when and how they gave money. And what we hope and what we see, certainly here within the Silicon Valley ecosystem, is those founders oftentimes go on to start new companies. Some of their employees now look and they say, I could do that better. I know. And they go off and start new companies. And they have way more experience than somebody that just went to business school. It's a much, much better lesson you get from working in a startup for 2 years than even going to top business school for 2 years.
If you are interested in listening to Laurent's story more, please reach out his LinkedIn.
LinkedIn's always great. It might take me a week to get back to you on LinkedIn, but I usually go through it about once a week. So always happy to find time. And I will probably be, and I'm in Japan roughly every 2 months.
Please reach out his Laurent LinkedIn. I can put the link. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for your wonderful journey and your passion story.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kaori. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye. The 3 key takeaways from Conversation with Laurent, Part 2. 1. Japan's cultural strengths are a global advantage in deep tech. Laurent emphasized that Japanese founders often excel in deep tech, health tech, and manufacturing, fields that require precision, patience, and quality, which align perfect with Japan's cultural value. Example, Kyoto Fusioneering and AIM, Advanced Imaging Medical, are gaining traction in the US because their Japanese research rigor stands out. 2. Alchemist focus on international founders with right to play. Alchemist looks for international startups with proven traction at home and a clear strategic reason to enter the US market. They support founders through incorporation, team hiring, pitch strategy, and more. Example, they help estimate market entry cost $1 million to $10 million and identify the best moment for scaling globally. 3. Customer discovery is the secret weapon, not just product building. One of Alchemist's core strengths is helping founders deeply understand who their real customer is, how to prioritize their top 3 pain points. Laurent warned Japanese startups often become consulting firms by over-customizing for one client, listened instead of building scalable solution. Okay, thank you so much for watching our episode today. We hope today's conversation will help your future and career. Okay, thank you so much. Bye bye, またね。Ciao.